That's a true story. I mean, that it just happened. It's simultaneous, right? It's asynchronous. And it could be midnight and you're working on your application. That's well and good. It's efficient. It's transparent. So in Quezon City, we've gotten so many complaints on social media. In social media, everyone has a voice. Ang bagal naman yan. Ito yung, and then we reach out. Sir, may reference number ka ba? Ito reference number. Sir, naghihintay lang ng bayad mo. I mean, this has happened a number of times, including from a friend of mine. Sabi ko, you know me naman. Why didn't you ask me? So check your record. And when he checked it, yun nga, hindi pa nagbabayad 1 month later. Okay? So it's transparent. And there is ownership and accountability. Ownership both on the citizen and on the public servant. We know who's handling what at what time. So that's the situation. Next slide. So since we started, Quezon City has adopted various innovative technological approaches to improve the way we deliver government services to citizens. Technology and innovation have become an integral part of how we operate. But at the same time, understand that technology and innovation are only a tool to create a positive change in the lives of citizens. And for that, that is the important reminder that all of this is simply a tool. And if the tool isn't making it easier, and if it doesn't do that, we shouldn't be doing it. So that's the guidance that we're using. Is you know, the typical guidance of government, is it going to make me money? That's not the guidance we were given. The guidance we were given is it is making it easier for citizens to avail of services. And if it's not going to do that, then don't do it. Right? So if you look at the heart of it is the city QC eServices, is the city's web-based and cloud-based platform for many of our citizen-centric services. It gathers all of the city's online services and programs into a single portal that is free and easily accessible to your desktop, laptop, or mobile device using, and I underline this because it's key, a single account. Before, one would have many disparate systems. And every time you build a new one, you would have another username and password. In Quezon City, however, because it's a single system, every time we roll out something, all we have to do is simply add it to the portal and it will show up with your same username and password for everything. So that was a key of what we were doing. Put everything on the same portal. So as a result, you as a citizen only create one username and password, and anytime something is new, it shows up. So next slide. So some of the key features, and I'll just mention this for those wondering, baka mahack kayo. Granted, you can never ever say it's 100%. But having said that, the QC eServices platform is a unified platform that incorporates every online service of any department or office, at least those that are client-facing. There are obviously some that are internal. It uses a single sign-on. It's email, Facebook, your Gmail, your Apple. We didn't want you to create any more accounts than you already have. It uses an application-based interface or API for those who are not tech-speaking, but maybe many of you are. What the main point being, it uses a black box type approach. It doesn't matter who developed the software, as long as it's API based and the systems can talk to each other, it will work. Right? As a result, we are not, at least in Quezon City, married to a single developer. Right? It could be any developer because the API is there, and as long as you can talk to the system, you can develop a system, as long as you feed it the same information, will be able to speak to it. Right? At least that's the intent, and most of the systems operate that way. So everything is housed and stored in the cloud, or at least majority are stored in the cloud. We're still migrating some of the others, so that it's available anytime, anywhere. And the rest of the stuff are just the things that people in data security are all worried about. Yes, it's encrypted. Yes, it's a separate servers, etc., etc. Next slide, please. So today, this is often the question is, gumagana ba talaga? Well, today, there are 2.3 million validated QC eServices accounts. That means they've registered with their email and they click validate. There are only 3.2 million citizens, right? So you can imagine, granted, there's probably a few crooks over here who created more than one account, At least we know who they are and whether they're applying to more than one service. But that's a lot. There's 2.3 million. And remember, this only started in 2021. Okay, or 2020, mid 2020 perhaps. Right? It's 2.3 million validated service accounts. So when we're asked, do people actually use it? The answer is right there. Next slide. More importantly, today, there are over 21 services and many more sub-services that are available online. You will see that some are geared towards making it easier to do business. I've highlighted them in red. Right? You have your business one-stop shop, your building one-stop shop, market one-stop shop, pay business taxes, etc. Some are geared towards making social services more accessible. Your scholarship application, your pangkabuhayang application, lagang QC, I highlighted them in blue. Some, or they're focused towards empowering citizens. Your People's Corner, your medical records, your OBR payments online. All are focused, and this is key, on providing better service that promotes transparency and accountability. And I want to touch on a few. And I'm not going to spend forever on this, but I'll touch on a few. So the building permit one-stop shop as an example. The business permit one-stop shop first. Quezon City has over 70,000 businesses. And when we started in 2019, more like 2020 when the first renewals happened, everybody was lining up. I mean, we're talking about 4 a.m. to 2 a.m. the next day. Right? And that's what it looked like. I mean, you were trying to register everybody in 20 days, January 20, all 70,000. I mean, this is crazy. Right? Granted, technology is a tool. So we did a couple of things. One, we made the business permits anniversary date. And two, we moved the deadline for tax payment to after April 15, so that we would get audited financial statements, which I'm sure KPMG is helping a lot of people get. Right? But today, when we automated it, 100% of all business permit applications and renewal is actually online. We went from 0 to 100%. Does that mean that everybody's doing it from their home? No, it means everybody's using the system. If you show up at City Hall, there will be a kiosk or somebody to help you. It will be encoded into the same online system. It's still online. You could have 5 people doing it at the same time at home or at City Hall. But it's 100% online. And it can, renewal in particular, can be done in 1 minute. Okay? When we say you don't anymore ask things we already have, if you've paid your business tax, we don't ask you to provide an OR. The system will check the business tax system if the tax has been paid. And when you renew, it will check, it's paid, you can renew. So we said, do not ask anything we already should know. So we should know whether you've paid. Right? And we also deliver the permits to people's doors so that we potentially bypass any fixers who have a tendency to hold your permit. And at the same time, you find out that some businesses, the address does not exist. So then we have to correct that because we can't seem to deliver it. Go there, there's no business here. I mean, so that happens. Building permit one-stop shop, simplified and often complicated process. If you're in most cities, you will see that it's a paper application. What the business permit application here does, it asks a series of questions. Based on your home, you don't have to ask you everything else that you don't actually need. And it asks you to identify the professionals associated with your building permit so that they can answer the questions themselves, whether it's your civil engineer or your architect, because I'm pretty sure you as a home builder are not the architect or the engineer, and you can't probably answer any of the questions yourselves. Right? So it does that. And if documents are complete, and we highlight in any service, if documents are complete, a simple building permit is 3 days. If documents are complete. And we often find somebody complaining, 3 months na yan. Kasi pagtingin sa system, 3 months, sir, kasi hindi ka compliant. You violated this, and this. Right? But the system will tell you that's what you violated. Right? And right now, they actually deliver, we just launched it a while ago. You deliver your physical copy of your plans after the electronic copy has already been submitted online into a Dropbox. So you have no more person interaction. Because apparently they used to complain that the guy in front was not accepting it. Well, right now we accept it all. So it's accepted, right? Paying business tax, and this one is 1 year in its implementation. You can actually, today, submit a business tax assessment online. Right? Granted, if you're SM, you probably won't do it. I mean, that's quite thick. But if you're a small business with a very small financial statement, submit it online. You'll get the assessment, verify it. If you agree, pay it. Right? The idea was to remove 90% of the problem. Right? The big guys will always show up in City Hall, understandable, their documents are that thick. But the small guy with a audited financial statement or a sari store with a gross sales receipt, just submit it online. Don't come see us. Right? If you agree, pay it. You disagree, file a comment and schedule an appointment. Right? So that's paying business tax online. And right now, 10% of all the business tax holders are doing it already online. Next year, the expectation is 100%. We basically let the business tax system run temporarily, and then we'll pull the plug on the old one next year. And that was the intent. No? Market One-Stop Shop, and I'm just going to highlight a couple more. The Market One-Stop Shop was launched recently, and if you imagine a movie theater, that's exactly what you have. We have 8 public markets, plus a lot of temporary vending sites. If you want a stall, go online. It's like a movie theater. Here's the market layout. Select your stall. See if it's occupied or not. If it's not occupied, select it. If it's your stall, you can pay it and track it online, and the comments will be given back to you online. If you have any violations, you'll know it. Right? So all of that is done through an online process. So it's a movie theater approach. What it enables us to do is it enables us to create temporary vending sites as long as they're numbered anywhere in the city using the same system, and you can reserve it online. Right? Including things like night market that's only open for a week. Here's the map, upload it, and reserve a slot. But that's how the Market One-Stop Shop works. In terms of social services, 2 I just want to highlight. The scholarship program and the Pangkabahayan QC. In both cases, it used to be run with a lot of palakasan. If you knew somebody, you could get scholarship. Pangkabahayan is the financial grant assistance. And nowadays, because the application is entirely online, you know who's qualified, not qualified, and what you need to submit. You don't need to know anybody. To date, 46,000 have already been given financial grant assistance to Pangkabahayan QC, and 11,000 scholars get every year, purely without knowing a single person. The People's Corner is the Freedom of Information link. If you have a complaint of some inefficient service or somebody's being corrupt, please do log in and send us a comment. And this one I just wanted to bring up really quickly. You'll see a link called Medical Records on the bottom right. And that's a recently launched program wherein in Quezon City, we've done a single patient record for all 66 health centers. It's launched right now in about 12. And if you're a citizen, you can log in and see your medical record, right? So that you don't have to remember what was last prescribed to you. But if you go from a health center A to health center B to health center C, the same record is there. But it also allows us to make sure you're not double dipping. Right? They got medicine in A, they went to B, and they're getting again. Right? So this is currently has been launched, and that's what it's doing. So again, the reason why I highlighted some of these is a lot of us, even us in the LGU, had thought of it as business permit, building permit, RPT. But when we come to realize that if it's service making it easier, suddenly everything else shows up. Right? So this says over 21, but actually it's a lot more. When you see civil registry, it doesn't mean just one. It actually means birth registration, death registration, marriage certificate application, late birth registration. It means a lot of that. Building permit means everything from electrical permit applications, etc. So that's why I say it's over 21 with a lot of sub-services. It's not yet the best interface. It's getting there, right? So we'll work on that. Next slide. Now, at the heart of many of the services is the Quezon City ID. Yes, that's not your PhilSys ID. It's your Quezon City ID. Your PhilSys ID tells you you're Filipino. Your Quezon City ID tells you you're in Quezon City. And what it does is, when I say it's at the heart, it serves as a requirement for many of the services. You want to apply for scholarship? Do you have a QC ID? If you don't have one, please apply for one. It's quite easy to apply. You can apply it online, right? And you just have to show proof that you're a QC resident, and it tells you exactly what, and you can get it online. You can have a digital copy on your phone, and that should work for any of our services here. But of course, typical Philippines, a lot of people don't recognize it. You get the physical card, which you can get also. Right? So, but we will recognize the digital copy, which you can get on the phone by downloading the app. It allows the city to provide services more efficiently. Right? We can reduce duplication. It enables the city to better allocate its resources, reduces fraudulent and duplicate claims. It doesn't mean that there are zero. Obviously, we have still experts who file 2 IDs with 2 different names, change one thing here and there, but we know who they are at least, and if we catch them, then then good luck to them at that point. But in any case, it's there. So we put it at the heart of everything, and we did it as a incentive-based approach rather than mandatory. Get it when you need it. It's the single ID for both the resident, your PWD, and your solo parent and your senior citizen. Meaning, if your ID number is your ID number, no matter what point you are. If you lose it, it's still your ID number. Okay, so that's the approach we decided. Don't worry, we're not original in this. We basically looked at Estonia and said, what they great, we'll copy Estonia. So a lot of these things are already practiced in Estonia. And okay, they're ahead of everybody else in Europe. We'll just do what they're doing. And so that's what we're trying to do. Next slide. And today, there are 970,000 approved QC IDs. It's not 3 million, but every baby, 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 4-year-old, up to maybe 15-year-old, I don't need yet. So that's okay. Right? That's a lot of people I don't yet need to have because they don't need our service yet. Right? Maybe when they do, then they'll apply for one when they need it. Next slide. And we continue to digitize other processes. I just wanted to highlight some of these because some people will say, oh, you've never mentioned these. Because not everything is front-facing. And I think that's the main point I just wanted to make with it. Some of it is not front-facing. So as an example, we recently piloted out the asset management software. We didn't build it on our own. We're using IBM Maximo, which is what the County of Los Angeles is using. And we have just moved away, as sad as it may sound, from Excel asset management. Right? I mean, when you try to manage your assets, movable, fixed, and supplies with Excel, it's good luck. Everything is missing. Right? It's now IBM Maximo, and so I'm expecting a lot less loss. And you'll see a few other things. Helpline 122, which you call our call center, is using a ticketing system. And again, we didn't build that software. Many of the others we did, because in many cases, that's the right answer. But in the ticketing, I think we're using Microsoft Dynamics. We could have used some other system. But the point is, it's ticketed, so there's a reference number when you call. And that one we did. We have a geographic information system. You won't see it out externally. There is one you will see. So one of the services in the system is on the city assessors. You can actually click on that, and if for those who've heard of Zillow abroad, if you click on that, you can actually see a property, whether its tax was paid, when it was paid, how much it was, what is the estimated tax you need to pay, and when the last sale happened. All right, so that's a use of a GIS, but that's the only external-facing GIS we have today. The rest are internal. I think that somebody was crazy enough to try to map all the trees in Quezon Memorial Circle. Good luck to that department, but they're doing it. So the idea was to make sure that we could map it all out. And again, the one software that you can use, again, if you were trying to buy and sell property, we do encourage you, take a look. Has the tax been paid? Why don't you check, right? And you'll see it there. No? So you'll see a few other software that's there. Next slide, and this is just maybe the last slide anyhow. And having said all, and the impact, of course, is important, right? And I just want to highlight three things. There's an impact in terms of digital transformation on delivery of services, right? Services are more efficient, they're transparent, they're available and accessible, and they're brought closer to the people, which Mayor Joy asked us to do. Then how do you bring it closer to the people? There's an impact on the individual, and this is the challenge. The individual's mindset, approach of how they avail of government services is gradually shifting. It's not all the way there. It's still shifting. And individuals are more empowered. And in this one, I want to highlight, there's an impact on policies. A lot of the policies that we're doing have changed. Right? Things like we're mandating digitization for a lot of our services, and also the requirements. Since we already have some of the information, you'll notice online, we don't anymore require certain things. Right? I think recently we've integrated with DTI. As a result, we will no longer need to ask you your DTI certification. Right? So the requirement has changed because the business permit's now integrated with DTI as of maybe a week ago. So as a result, we won't ask it anymore. SEC, we still do. We're still working on that. But the DTI, we don't. Right? At least for the name registration, that's okay. So there's a shift in all of this. And last slide, and I know I am slightly over the last slide. So having said all that, and I think that was the last slide is just thank you. Having said all that, the journey is long, and we're still in the early stages in Quezon City. We've done a lot, but there's still so much more to do. And being Quezon City, our role, or rather our responsibility, is to take a leadership role in good governance, innovation, and digital transformation. Because whether we like it or not, cities, citizens, and the international community to look at what we're doing. And as we often say in Quezon City, if it can be made to work here, it can be made to work anywhere else in the Philippines. Thank you and a good day to everyone.